You are now listening to Summer Jam Sessions with Emma Keider on KJACK's LP Flagstaff. Every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. over the summer, I invite local bands to come on the show to perform their acoustic songs live for all of you, for your listening pleasure. And we get to know them a little bit better. So today we have Eric from Soft Blossom in the booth. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
There he is, and he was going to bring his drummer, Jesse, but he unfortunately couldn't come today, so that's okay. We still have Eric from Soft Blossom, so that's awesome. And Soft Blossom is actually from Phoenix, Arizona, correct?
Yes.
Yep, so you're from Phoenix. So thanks for making the drive up
Oh, well,
to
thanks for the
Flagstaff.
invitation.
Yeah, no problem. So how are you doing? How was the drive?
Well, the drive was fine. It's a 2-hour drive up to 17. It's no breeze.
Right.
And, showed up. First stop I made, went to Bookman's, picked up
Classic.
Ziggy Stardust for $10.
Oh, man, we love David Bowie here.
Yeah. So I'm pretty thrilled to listen to that when I get back home.
Cool. So you made a trip out of it.
Yeah.
So let's just start from the beginning. How did Soft Blossom come about?
So Soft Blossom came about. I have another group that I'm involved in called Humble Living, that originated in Yuma, Arizona, and then myself and the drummer moved up to the Phoenix area. And while we were up there, we couldn't play too many shows because our bassist still lives back home. So we were just kind of missing the fun of going out and playing a live show. So
Right.
we decided to start something very small, kind of secondary. And somewhere along the line, an album started getting produced, and we found ourselves playing shows. And I still like my other band, maybe just a little bit more. I feel like the
Okay.
energy is pretty high up there, but this band is a little bit more melodic and more acoustically driven, more
Right.
kind of folksy Americana.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm able to play shows, here and there. I'm trying to keep myself busy. I'm trying to, seek out as many opportunities as I can to perform in front of an audience.
Yeah, you have to.
So it's just, I guess it all just kind of originated from a lack of live energy that I was just kind of building up inside of me, and finally had kind of caved in and just decided to start a whole new group.
Just do it. Yeah. That's cool. So how did you and Jesse meet then?
So me and Jesse met, I'm unsure how many years now,
Yeah.
but he is originally from the Valley and moved to Yuma, Arizona, I believe my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And so he was like the new kid at school. He was in band, drumline, a shock there. And we ended up in the same English class, and he sat behind me, and the teacher had him helping me with my English class. And somewhere along the line, a friend of mine told me that he was a drummer. I was in a band at the time. It was the first band that I was in, called Tinfoil. And finally, at the end of that year, a lot of the members one of them came here to NAU, another one went to ASU, and so it was just me and the guitarist when we were left, and the bassist, he had moved just to Phoenix. And so we were left alone, and we wanted to keep same thing, just the live energy drive going. And all of a sudden I remembered that I had this friend in class who played drums.
Oh my God,
and so I just
yeah.
reached out to him, and sure enough, he brought a full drum kit. Like, we just had this beat-up kit in the garage, and he blew us away. We tried to throw everything at him to throw him off, see,
Yeah.
like, oh, how good is this guy? And he proved to be as good as any guy could be.
That's awesome. What
Yeah.
a story. What a story. And so I've always thought two-man bands are really cool, just because it's just, it's a smaller version, and there's just so many other things that you can get a lot of pedals, or it's just really cool to see live two-man bands. So what do you like about being in a band with Jesse?
Like, with Jesse, it's easier to be in a two-man band with him just because he's a real powerhouse of a player. So there really isn't a lull unless it's needed. He'll just really fill in those empty spots, and because like for me, like I keep my pedals really simple. I don't try to oversaturate it
Right,
or
yeah.
anything. And most shows we'll do an acoustic guitar and a live drum kit.
Cool.
And so, or if we're doing something more like a coffee house or anything like that, we'll do a djembe and an acoustic guitar. And but we somehow, through just kind of like his drive and his strength behind it and the melodies that I come up with, we're able to kind of fill in those empty spaces. And that's kind of a challenge when it comes to songwriting, having to keep in mind, well, I don't have a bassist, I don't have a lead guitarist, because I'll write my songs as a full band, like 4-piece,
okay.
and then convert them into a 2-piece styled song. And but yeah, it's fun playing with him because he really does know how to kind of just fill in those empty spots.
Cool. So when did you start writing songs?
I started writing songs probably, I think I might have been about 13.
Okay. Very young.
Yeah. I had always been into music. I'd always been singing like in school choirs, church choirs, things like that. But it wasn't until I was about 13 that I started to write, or I had like maybe one or two notepads filled with poems.
Oh, okay.
And around that time, I also started to like pick up the guitar and started to teach myself how to play with a little aid of my brother, my oldest brother.
Oh, cool.
And
a music family then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone in my family sings. Me and my brother are the two that play guitar.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I started to first make those poems into songs.
Right.
And then I just took the idea, just like I saw two paths. I was like, I could either try and become the greatest guitarist that ever lived, or I can try and become, a halfway decent songwriter.
Right.
And so I took songwriting instead and never learned my scales, never learned anything like that. But
God.
I spent all my time learning how to play and sing and how to, keep in pitch and understand key and everything. And eventually I found myself that was my biggest strength with every band, was being able to write lyrics, being able to come out with these melodies. And in a weird way, because I never learned theory,
right,
I never wrote songs to kind of a regular format or standard. I always wrote them kind of just by ear, like, oh, well, this chord sounds nice with this chord.
Yes. And
I'll have a friend kind of like review the song, and he'll be like, well, technically that doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, but it sounds good.
No, there's something to be said about that,
Yeah.
though, because some of the best songs ever, are just people just making whatever they think sounds good. Because, I mean, that's true. At least for that's just honest music.
Yeah.
So that's totally awesome that you do that. So you describe your sound for Soft Plaza as like indie, rock, folk, Americana.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious of who some of your influences are.
Yeah. For Soft Blossom, at least like for the concept album that we're working on, was very much Americana, folk inspired. A lot of like Chris Stapleton, Shaky Graves.
Ooh, yes, I've seen him.
Yeah, it's just like
good stuff.
I can never remember. I think it's like Nathaniel Radcliffe and the Night Sweats.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kind of those like Leon Bridges.
Yes.
So I was listening to a lot of that at the time, but at the same time I listened to like Wilco, Dr. Dog, Cold War Kids, Delta Spirit. And so just a lot of artists that I'd been listening to since like high school, I didn't realize over time had been building this kind of like musical catalog in the back of my head. And I never really wrote in that style, not until this project came about. And all of a sudden I find myself playing songs and writing songs that almost sound like my high school soundtrack.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, so
That's funny.
Yeah, it kind of came full circle there. So it was a lot of just like those late 90s, early 2000s indie rock groups who were really kind of, they were reaching their hands in all these different kind of musical pockets.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you're currently working on this album. Have you decided what the name of the album is yet?
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, I've never really spoke about the album to an extent outside of like the studio, but yeah, so the album's going to be called Fly on a Wall.
Ooh.
And the concept of it is essentially it's this album based around like an unnamed bar and kind of the events that are going on in it and like the perspectives of the people. So each song is kind of a perspective on a patron inside of it. And
interesting.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's 11. It's going to be 11 tracks.
Sweet.
It's this. It really just started because, like I had mentioned, I just wanted to play live, so I started writing some new songs, and I had one song that I had done. I didn't have the idea in my head, but it just kind of had that painting of a bar in there. And then I wrote another song, didn't know where to go with it, just had like the melody, and I brought it to my friend's attention, and he was just like, well, if that one sounds like a bar, why don't you just do it about a bar? And I was like, I want to do an EP. He was like, no, we'll do an album.
Just do the album
he's like,
already.
We'll do an album and we'll do it as a concept. He's like, that doesn't happen too often.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think that's a great idea.
It was my first attempt at a concept album. And lyrically, it's been the most challenging kind of project I've ever had to take. With every other song, just whatever I'm feeling here or there, you know, summer mornings, whatever it be. But this one I had to make sure there was kind of a cohesive thought all the way through. And so it was a bit of a challenge. It took me about 4 months to write all the lyrics. I had the songs written probably about around like month 2, and then it took me about another 2 months just to finish the words. But now I have, we've recorded just about everything. We're on, I think the only thing we have left is 3 songs, vocals, and that's it.
Nice.
And then that's on to mixing after that.
Yeah, that is so, oh my God, that is so exciting. So when can we expect?
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can expect it end of this year. I would really
end of this year.
I'm hoping for, if not definitely first quarter next year. For sure. No later than that.
Yeah, no later than that. Okay, sweet. So where can people follow you on social media, or where can they listen to your music now so that?
Yeah, so we have a single out on Spotify under Soft Blossom.
Sweet.
The single itself is called Soft Blossom as well. It has 2 songs, Wishful Thinking and Emerald.
Nice.
That is a single that I wrote and essentially dedicated to my wife.
Cool.
For her birthday.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I'll actually be playing those 2 songs today as well.
I'm so excited.
Cool. But yeah, Spotify is where you'll be able to listen to us. We're on, I think at this point now, we're on most streaming platforms.
Okay.
As for Facebook, we're under Soft Blossom. I believe we're Soft Blossom Official.
Okay.
And for Instagram, I believe we're the same, Soft Blossom Official.
Sweet. So everyone listening out there, go give Soft Blossom a follow and a listen on Spotify or all the streaming platforms. But you'll be able to listen to Eric live in just a few minutes. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You are listening to Summer Jam Sessions with Emma Keider on KJACK Radio. Soft Blossom is going to be right back to play some acoustic songs live for all of you on the air, so definitely stay tuned. But we're just going to take a quick break and listen to some live music while Eric gets set up. So we are going to start with Gold on the Ceiling. This is a live in-studio version. I believe it was recorded in Australia, too. So here is the Black Keys.